Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are watching this wonderful master class. Listen, I'm Dr. Pastor Anthony D. Shannon, coming to be your encouraging coach. Listen, I come to be a cheerleader of your success. I come to be a catalyst to get you off the couch or whatever you need to do, because I want you to be a leader. I believe, like the late Dr. Miles Monroe says, everyone has leadership inside of them, and there's a leader somewhere waiting to come out. I want to talk today because I have the opportunity to be a part of this summit, this great, wonderful summit, Leaders Live Generously Summit. Because of the Leaders Live Generously Academy, listen, this master class will be in the vault. It'll be able to encourage you for many, many years to come. I want to talk to you today about the power of leadership and why it's needed. The power of leadership and why it's needed. COVID-19 was a pandemic. Frontline healthcare workers took charge to protect lives all over the world, often risking their own lives. Leadership arose from unlikely places as nurses, doctors, and community leaders coordinated efforts to save lives and provide hope. My acronym for HOPE is helping others pursue expectations. What is leadership? There's all kind of definitions for leadership. John Maxwell says leadership is only influence. While leadership is not about titles, but about influence, vision, and the ability to inspire others to move forward to their common goal. In Proverbs 29:18, I love to quote this. He says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he." The Passion version of the same verse says, "Where there's no prophetic vision." So therefore, you need a prophetic gift in your life. You need someone who would prophesy to you, someone who's going to tell you you're going to be a great singer. Barbara Streisand, her mother, said you're going to be an awesome singer, and she began to pursue it. That's what we call the prophetic, okay? Prophetic vision. Now, if you're going to understand why leadership is needed, then here it is. My objective of this lesson today is for you to explore the power of leadership, why it is essential in today's world, and how we can rise as leaders. Do you not know that we have the understanding? Why do we have the understanding in our modern day? The understanding is this: there is power in leadership. My modern day example is the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His role during the civil rights movement. That's right. Martin Luther King Jr.'s leadership was grounded in his unwavering faith and belief in nonviolence. It was inspired by both the teachings of Jesus and the strategies of Mahatma Gandhi. He understood that true leadership required moral courage and a commitment to justice. That's right. He just couldn't sit back and watch this injustice take place. And he understood this. Not only did he understand this, even in the face of adversity, he wanted to do something about it, because through his speeches, like the iconic "I Have a Dream" address, Dr. King painted a vision of equality and unity that resonated deeply with people across racial and social lines. His leadership during the Montgomery bus boycott showcased his ability to organize and galvanize communities for a sustained cause, ultimately leading to the Supreme Court's ruling that segregation on public buses was unconstitutional. Additionally, his leadership in organizing the March on Washington brought national attention to civil rights issues, culminating in the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. You know, Dr. King's resilient faith-based leadership demonstrated that transformative change is possible. And when leaders are anchored in purpose, guided by vision, and willing to sacrifice for the greater good, then that's the power of leadership. Here's one of the key points I want to give you. Key point number one. Leadership has the power to influence minds and change perspectives. Number two, true leadership uplifts others and it builds unity. Matthew 20:26 says, whoever wants to become great among you must become the servant, must become the learner, must become the student, right? I want you to think about a leader that you could think about who has influenced your life and what quality or qualities made that person impactful to you. I can think of several myself of growing up, and different people have helped me. Man, they've made such an impact in my life that made me wanted to do something, made me wanted to be better, do better. And guess what? I want you to ask that question for yourself, because whatever they did to you, I want you to pass it forward and become that to somebody else. Section 2, why leadership is needed. Yeah, it's needed in today's time, as we can see. If Dr. Martin Luther King wouldn't have stepped up, what would have happened to the civil rights movement? Would we even had any of those things? Or maybe we still would have segregation on the buses. Well, let me give you this. And here's the deal. Kodak, Kodak, we used to have the little cameras, you take a picture and then you take them down and get them, developed, right? Well, Kodak, once a giant in the photography industry, they failed to adapt to the digital revolution despite having the technology in their possession in as early as 1972. The leadership hesitated to innovate. They feared it would cannibalize their film business. This lack of vision led to their downfall in the face of agile competitors. Similarly, Blockbuster, the same, dominated the video rental market, but they ignored the potential of online streaming and eventually on demand. So they rejected the opportunity to buy Netflix at the time for $50 million. Netflix was ready to sell. They were just sending out CDs, but they had the vision for the future. Their leadership's inability to foresee the shift in consumer behavior resulted in their demise. They're no longer here. Okay, these examples to me underline the importance of visionary leadership in navigating change and driving innovation. This is why leadership is important. But not only leadership, you got to have the right leadership. I like to say that I'm a leader leading from the future, right? I'm always on the cutting edge, always moving ahead, leading out so that I don't have to be behind. Because either you're leading out or eventually you're going to be leading from behind or not leading at all. And so you got to have not only leadership, but you need effective leadership. Jacinda Ardern, the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, and her empathetic yet decisive response during crisis in the Christchurch shooting and COVID-19. Her leadership is needed, and your leadership is needed. So, number one, why do you need leadership? Leadership brings order to chaos. You have chaos, you need a leader, right? Things are going haywire, you need somebody to take charge. Number two, leadership inspires faith and hope in challenging times, right? During the 1929, that was a mess. But guess what? Leadership rose to give hope to people. We'll give you food. People was lined up to get food, get cheese, get this, get a little money here or there, right? It inspired faith. It inspired hope. Number three, leadership fulfilled God's purpose on the earth. The reason we have leadership, that's a God idea. God is the one created leadership. He's the one created you to be a leader, whatever leader you are. If you become a father or a mother, you're automatically in leadership. And not only that, 1 Corinthians 14:40 said, let all things be done decently and in order. So in order to have, listen, can you just imagine this world without order? Can you imagine no street lights? No stop signs? Oh my goodness. You ever had a traffic light go out and they got the four-way stops and everybody, for a moment, they're courteous, and you, next thing you know, you got a few people that ain't letting you go by. You're like, wait a minute, I just got to go. That's what we would have. Nothing but chaos. I promise you that. So leadership is needed. And why leadership? Because of all those things I just mentioned. All right. Now I want to give you the traits of a great leader. Right? If you are a leader, if you're not a leader, I want you to know there's a leader inside of you waiting to come out. Because in order to be a good leader, you must become a good follower. And if you're not a good follower, then you're really doing nothing. You're not making any noise. Okay? So here's the traits of a great leader. I want to use Nehemiah from the scriptures as my backdrop. Nehemiah's leadership in rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. The first thing he had was vision. So traits of a good leader is vision. Even we saw that without a vision, people perish. Nehemiah saw what others could not see. He saw that the wall could be rebuilt. The second thing he needed, or you need as a leader, is courage. He faced opposition with boldness. Dr. Martin Luther King faced opposition. Helen Keller faced opposition. All right? So vision, courage, and then teamwork. Being able to galvanize others to walk with you. Teamwork, he rallied people to work together. Then, so we got vision, we got courage, we got teamwork, and then guess what? He didn't quit. He has resilience. Despite ridicule and attacks, he stayed focused. Not only that, Nehemiah 2:17 says, come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace. They replied, let us start rebuilding. So they began the good work. He said, no matter what people say, we're going to get this done. You need to have that kind of mindset. No matter what people saying, even if people do not believe in what you believe in, do you believe it yourself? You've got to believe in yourself, your dream, before anybody else would believe in it. And you got to make sure that you don't quit, cave in, no matter what the obstacle is. That brings you resilience. Listen, let's give you a modern day example. Elon Musk's leadership. Wow. You know, with SpaceX and Tesla. Man, he dared to come against Ford, Chrysler, GM. What? He dared to come against Honda and all of the Chinese corporations and said, y'all ain't doing it right. I got something for you. His ability to push boundaries and inspire his team to achieve what seemed impossible is a testament to his visionary leadership. Not to mention, soon people will be taking space rides just for the joy of it. Wow. What traits from Nehemiah and Elon Musk can we incorporate into our daily leadership? Think about it. And now he's appointed by the president-elect to be an innovator. Wow. Here's the traits you need. I'll highlight them for you. Vision, courage, integrity, servanthood, effective communication, resilience, and of course, faith. You're going to need it, right? Those are the traits you need for good leadership. So the next one is how then to step into leadership today. What can I do? You say I'm a leader. You say that there's a leader inside of me waiting to come out. Well, I told you everyone born is born for a purpose. So you have to find your purpose so you can begin to live your life. In living your life, you then can leave a legacy. How do you do that? I'll tell you. Align your passion. That's right. What are you passionate about? What are some things you said, man, I can do that all day, all night, even if I don't get a dime. I'm passionate about that. And then, is it lined up with God's purpose? Because he's the one who created you. He says, I know the thoughts that I have towards you, thoughts of good and not evil, to bring you to an expected end. Jeremiah 29:11. Find your purpose, because you have one. You just haven't found it yet. But once you find it, then you'll start living your life. I promise you that. Number 2, start developing yourself. Work on yourself. Stop working on other people. Man, I wish I could fix him. I wish I could fix her. I don't know why she ain't hearing this. No, fix yourself. Work on yourself. Commit to learning and growing. Commit to developing so that you could be a person, as I guess Proverbs 27 says, iron sharpens iron. Why don't you become iron so that you can sharpen somebody else? Discover your purpose, and then, of course, develop yourself. I think if you start developing yourself, then you can demand the money you need, right? A lot of people want more money, but they haven't developed themselves in order to demand the money that they're asking for. If you start developing yourself, developing your skills, working on yourself, I promise you the money will show up. Amen? It will show up. The third thing you need, if you're going to step into leadership, is lead where you are. Lead where you are. Leadership doesn't require a platform. Rosa Parks didn't have one. She didn't even have a title. But she began to lead. It begins with serving those around you. Just start serving. Who's ever great among you, let them become the servant. Many people don't want to serve. They want all to bow to them. Well, if you become a servant leader, then guess what? You'll get elevated. You'll get promoted. And the level of your authority will come to the level of your submission. I believe that with everything in me. The fourth thing you need is you need to know how to build relationships. You can't talk about, I can't stand people, don't want people. All I want to do is be in a corner, shut the door. No, you got to learn how to build relationships. Great leaders prioritize connection over control. I want to be able to know people, connect with people, influence people. Different people know me. And then build the relationship, because that gives you influence. Are you listening to me? Then the fifth thing you're going to need is to rely on God's strength. God will give you strength to overcome. He will give you wisdom. You know, Paul even said these words, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. You know, you need strength for the journey, because things get rocky. Sometimes the boat get to waving. The winds get brisk. And you're going to need some strength. All right? Because we do get tired. Right? So I want to encourage you to identify one area in your life where you can lead. If you're not leading right now, if you're not serving right now, look around and see a need and see where you can begin to serve, because as you begin to serve in that area, you're going to be leading that area. There's nobody in the children, working with children. Then you go do it, right? One of our leaders, they started working as a volunteer, if you will, subbing. And the next thing you know, they had their own room. And they wasn't even a teacher. People thought they was a teacher because they just started serving and working. And then later they said, wait a minute, I think I better go get my certification and get everything to be a teacher, all right? Because you just start serving and you become the leader, all right? So I want to encourage you to do that. Start leading at home. Remember I said serve. If whoever's great among you, let them start with serving. So start serving at home. Serve at work. Serve at church. Serve in your business. What about your community? Go work with some elderly, right? Whatever it is that you need to do, I want you to begin to do it, because it's only going to help you become better in your leadership. Somebody say, become better in my leadership. I don't hear you. I want to become what? Better in my leadership. That's right. I want you to become better in your leadership. Because when you talk about moving forward, then you know what you're going to need? You're going to need commitment. I tell people all the time that if you can commit without wavering, because a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. Matter of fact, I don't think no person wants a person who's indecisive. What do you want to eat? I don't know. Where do you want to go? I don't know. What kind of clothes you want? I don't know. It's hard to work with a person like that, right? Because you're trying to shoot out everything and they don't know what they want and they're indecisive. And because they're indecisive, you can't help them. Well, listen, leadership is about influencing. And you want to be able to influence people in order to move to the next level. And not only that, what are you going to do? You're going to sit there? Are you going to be average? Or are you going to be below average? No. There's a need for you. There's a need for leaders. You know what Jesus said when he walked the earth? The harvest is plentiful, but it's the laborers, it's the leaders that are few. That's amazing that he would say that the harvest is plentiful, yet we need some leaders. Amen. We need some good leaders in this place today, and I want you to be one of the next leaders that's going to help walk it out as the power of leadership. I want you to know this, that you can be a leader who's going to change, innovate, lead, and then do it with generosity. I want you to not only lead, but I want you to do it with generosity. I want you to be able to do the stuff that you're supposed to do to help other people overcome. Because when you are an influencer, you can help people and push people to a whole new level. I call it a life without crumbs, but a life full of the overflow. Do you know that I think it says, the thief comes to steal, kill, destroy, but I've come that you might have life to the full till it overflow. I believe that you can overcome, you can have expansion, and you can grow. I want you to start thinking about where you are and think about what you need to expand and think about where you need to grow. Not only in the natural, but also in the spiritual. I need you to find yourself stepping into areas that you once thought were beyond your reach. Your leadership can do that. Do not doubt your capacity. Do not. All right? I don't want you to doubt it. I want you to begin to move, to walk upward, and I want you to walk onward. You know what? Someone said, start where you are, use what you got, and do what you can. Arthur Ashe said that. Because if you got that, then you can move into leadership. You can move into what I call love and compassion. Because if you're going to be a leader, you're going to need to walk in love. You're going to need to love people. I mean, all kinds of people. And you're going to need to have compassion. Compassion is an action word. Okay? You can't have compassion and sitting down in a corner. No, compassion moves you to action. It's the love for the people that will cause you to have compassion for people. The Good Samaritan, he had love for his employee. And he went to get some help for him. Who do you have compassion for? See, I want you to understand that in today's time and in today's leadership, the leadership is going to help you, push you, and catapult you into what I call thrive, flourish, and increase. Your leadership can only develop as you develop. The people under you, I think John Maxwell calls it the law of the lid. He says that if you go to a 7, then people under you can only go to a 6 or a 5 at the most. You got to keep growing and going. You got to get to 20, 30, 40 so people under you can grow and expand. The more that you grow, the more you expand, the more that you develop, the better it's going to be for you. And I want you to know that you can be that person that you want to be. You can be that person you desire to be. You can be the person that I need you to understand that you are. So I want you to say these 5 things. The first thing I want you to say is this. I choose to have a positive day and be positive on this day as a leader. Don't be a negative leader. Be a positive leader. I don't know what anyone else has to say, but I can tell you this, that Donald Trump won the president election race. He's the president-elect, and he just didn't win by a few margins. He won by a long shot. Now, I don't know how he pulled that off, but I can tell you this, that somebody must have been believing, and somebody must have been confessing, or somebody paid a lot of people, okay? One of the three, all right? But I want you to say that you're going to be that leader, that you choose to have a positive day and be positive all day in your leadership, all right? Then I want you to say this, number 2, I choose to be grateful for what I have and everyone in my life. I want you to begin to be thankful for whomever's in your life. You got a husband, start thanking him. Your wife, start thanking her. You got friends, start thanking them, right? Because you could have nobody. You know how many people are lonely and alone? They have nobody in their life. Well, I don't want that to be you. So, number 3, I want you to say, I am capable of accomplishing great things, and I am the one to get it done. That's right. You're the leader that's been called to get it done. They don't have to call Steve. They don't have to call the Orchid Man. They calling you. All right? And you're the one that's going to get it done. Don't doubt yourself. Don't you dare say, I don't know. I don't know why they calling me. I know why they calling you. You're the one. You're the leader that's going to get it done. All right? Start looking at yourself different. Start saying these things about yourself so that you will go and accomplish it. So number 1, I want you to say, I choose to have a positive day and be positive in my leadership. Number 2, you're going to say, I choose to be grateful for what I have and everyone in my life. Number 3, I am capable of accomplishing great things, and I am the one to get it done. Number 4, you're going to say this, I give myself permission to dream bigger and to become healthy and wise in my leadership. Did you hear that? Wow. You got to give yourself permission as a leader. Yes, you do. Because people will talk, people will say things. I heard Joel Osteen say, I never preached a message. My father was trying to get me to step up into the leadership, but I never did. I was behind the cameras, he said, for 10, 15, 17 years, whatever it was. And one day his father passed away. And what's amazing is the week his father asked him to preach for the next Sunday is when he passed away. He steps up for the first time. You know what he said? Everybody was saying, you don't sound like your father. I wonder if you're going to tune up. I wonder if you're going to preach from this way or that way. And he said that out of all the noise, he had to give himself permission to be himself and trust that the leader that God was calling him to be was the leader he needed to be. Do you know that they've done way more and expanded farther than what the father wanted? It was his father's dream, but it all came to pass when he gave himself permission. Now I'm telling you to say these words. I give myself permission to be the leader I'm supposed to be, to dream bigger, to become healthy and wise in my leadership. Then I want you to say this. I embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. Whoo, did you hear that? That's some good leadership. These are affirmations, confirmations you're going to say to yourself in your leadership. That's right. I embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. Listen, success is not avoiding challenges. It's about solving the challenges like a puzzle. Because every challenge, I believe, is a puzzle. And you put the puzzles together, that's leadership. Because leaders solve problems. And the more problems you solve, the greater leader you're going to be. Right? The more people call on you. I'll never forget the Lakers when they wanted to win. Guess who they called on? Phil Jackson. He had already won some championships with Chicago. So what did they do? They called on Phil Jackson. and he brought them some championships. Because once you know how to win, once you know how to overcome, once you know how to take a step back to get ready for a comeback, it don't matter what nobody say. It doesn't matter what nobody do. You're ready to now win. You're ready to step up, step in your leadership, and cause yourself to have permission to win. The last thing I want you to say to yourself is, I take action toward my goals every day. I'm not waiting around for somebody to push me, help me. I encourage myself. I believe in myself. I believe that I can do all things through Christ that lives on the inside of me. Greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. If the God of the universe can believe in me, I better believe in me. I better push me. I better, come on now, pat my own self on the back, not out of arrogance, but to keep my confidence. I've got to keep pushing. I've got to keep believing. I've got to keep overcoming when everybody else doubts me, when everything else comes against me, when the winds are rising and the wind, I'm hearing it strong and the voices are strong. You'll never do that. Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied, I wouldn't say so until I tried. So he buckled right in with the face of a grin. If he was fearful, he hid it. Next thing you know, he began to do the thing that he feared, and he began to tackle the thing that couldn't be done. And next thing you know, he did it. I want you to understand, to change where you are, you must become better. You must become that leader you're desiring. You must become that person you want to attract. See, what you have right now in your life is what you've attracted. That's right. You attracted it right now. So if you want to attract something else, then you got to become a better person. You've got to become a different person. If you don't have much, then you haven't become much. I want you to take this opportunity to become a better leader. I want you to begin to read 5 minutes a day. Read some stuff. Say, I'm just going to start reading. I'm just going to start drawing. I'm just going to start writing. I'm just going to start, keeping a journal. That journal might come into a book. It might even become a movie. Just about your life. If people get on Facebook, if people get on Instagram, if people get on social media just to look at other people's lives, what you think will happen if you just start writing your life? Woo! I'm trying to help you. You understand? Because don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Did you hear me? Oh, I need you to get that. I need you to quote that. I need you to tweet that. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Learn to work harder on yourself and you'll live forever. If you only work hard for someone else, it's coming to an end. Work on yourself. I want you to understand that you can reach me. That's right. AnthonyDShannonConsultingGroup.com. You can also reach me at LeadersLiveGenerouslyAcademy.com. And, of course, I'm always doing ministry at the Victory Church, INT.org. Hit me up on all the social media handles, Anthony D. Shannon. That's right, Anthony D. Shannon. You got to put the D in there, all right? D stands for determination. I'm always determined to win, and I'm always determined to inspire you and help you to overcome so you too can win. All I know is what I know, and I want you to know that the power of leadership is needed, and why it's needed, because there's always a harvest waiting for a leader. I need you to walk in vision. I need you to walk in purpose and be the leader God's calling you to be. I'll see you next time. Wherever I see you, but it will be at the top. I'm Dr. Pastor Anthony Shannon, signing off, saying deuces, double victory come in your life. Thrive. You got it.